guys, welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily and thank you so much for joining me today. I am excited to show you the fun fall DIYs that I have planned for this video, and I am also excited that this video is part of a fun collaboration with a few of my blonde friends that I have made here on YouTube. I will explain more about that later, but let's get right into the DIYs. Hiding in my stash, I found this Easter tag sign from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take my emery board and file off as much glitter as I can. I then will take some of this brown craft paper and I will cut it to size, and then in order to make this fit the best that I can, I'm just going to lay it on my sign and I will run my finger over the edge of the sign to indent that shape of the sign into the paper, so when I go cut it with my scissors I can get the closest shape that I can. To adhere this to the sign, I'm going to use just some trusty old glue stick and some hot glue. I'm going to do this for a couple of reasons. First and foremost is there is a lot of glitter that is on this sign, and this will contain any that is left. We all know how much Dollar Tree loves their glitter. I swear they must own stock in a glitter company or something because they use a lot of glitter. So it will contain that. And the next is it's just obviously going to cover the design that is there up. It takes less paint and it is going to make it look a little bit more high-end, kind of take it to the next level. So I just put my hot glue around the edge, and then once I place that craft paper down, I use my Mod Podge roller to flatten that out a little bit, and that just really helps adhere that. Then I'll just take my emery board and in a downward motion, I will just file off the edges of that craft paper, and that's going to give it that very crisp look. On the top and the bottom of the sign, I am going to put this cute little pumpkin craft paper that I did get from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using my ruler to get as straight of line as I can, and then to keep that straight line, I will just use the edge of the paper. You can kind of see how I'm doing that there. And then the same thing, I will just rub my finger over the edge of the sign to indent that, and I will go in with my scissors and cut it as close as I can. And then same thing on this paper. To get that crisp edge, I just use my emery board. You can use a finger sander, sandpaper, anything that you like that works, and just do it in a downward motion softly, and that will just give you that crisp, clean edge. And then I will do the same thing on the bottom of this to add that same craft paper. So again, I just line my little paint stir stick there up on the edge of my tag sign, and then kind of eyeball where I want my paper to go up to. And then I will use the other straight edge of this paper to use as my top line. That will give it that crisp, clean, straight edge on the top there. You can see how I do that. And then of course, the same motions here. Put your finger or to indent the sign, and then actually I guess this one I don't really need to do that because you can just cut it since it's straight as close to the edge, and then you'll just sand off the edges of the paper like this. So I did use my Cricut cutting machine. You can use any type of rub-on transfers or stickers. If you are at all familiar with my channel, you know that I absolutely cannot freehand things. No matter how hard I try, it is very frustrating to me. And as much as I would love to perfect that, I just don't have the patience to do it. So I did use this little design that was in Cricut Design Space to cut these words out. So, and if you guys have been here for a little while, you know that I have lost my Cricut scraping tool and I found it. So I'm so excited that that is back in my life and I can stop using my hotel key momentarily until I lose it again, I'm sure. So I'm just going to push this down onto my sign here. Farm Fresh Pumpkin Patch. I just love the font that was on that. And then it also had this little You Pick sign that I'm going to put down there on the bottom. And as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, I have this darling little truck that I got from Hobby Lobby. I think it was like $2.99, and then of course they're 40% off. I'm just going to glue this on there. It will give it that cute little three-dimensional look, and I'm just using hot glue for this. And I thought this was the perfect way to use this little truck. It would also be super cute on like a tiered tray or something, but I just love this little sign that I'm making. And I'm just using my little weeding tool. You could use whatever to stick through where that hole is up at the top of your tag sign, because I'm going to use some rope to stick through here so that way we can hang our tag. So any kind of twine or string or whatever you have that you want to use to do this with will work. I just unraveled some Dollar Tree rope and tied a knot into the end of one of the little strands, and then I just stuck it through as you saw there. And then on the knot portion, I just put a little bit of hot glue under that. That's going to make that knot so it doesn't slip up at all. You never see it and it'll stay secure. And then just do some Mod Podge. You probably maybe want to do that before you glue your truck on, but I kind of forgot. But what do you guys think of this? I'm just smitten with this. I think it's absolutely darling. I got these at Hobby Lobby. I got this cute little white pumpkin. They had lots of different colors, and this is in the bridal section, over kind of by the bridal section. They have these little succulent bouquets and then little sprigs over there. So I just waited until those were 50% off to do this. So I'm just going to remove the stem on this pumpkin. They are styrofoam under whatever painted surface this is on them. So I just removed the stem, and now I'm just unwrapping this little succulent bouquet, and I'm just going to unwind it and get all of the little sprigs separate. So it's kind of nice because when you get it 50% off for $6, you get all, like, it's all together. You don't have to buy a bunch of little sets of different succulents. It comes all together. It's all matched, I guess is what I'm saying. So I did take my scissors and kind of pop off a little bit of that coating that's on the pumpkin to get down to expose the styrofoam. And then I literally just kind of started playing around, sticking in different succulents. If I needed to trim them down, I used my wire cutters to trim them down. And then I'm just going to keep placing them in and keep going around. Now, when I do get to the little long fern-like leaves like this here that I have, I realized they were very long for what I wanted to do. So I do trim off a couple inches off of the end, and then those little leaves just pull right off. And so you can kind of see, I'm like, that's really long. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. I just trim those with my wire cutters, and those leaves just pull right off to give you another little stem to stick down into your styrofoam. I am just going to let this play so you can watch my thought process with arranging these sprigs of flowers and greenery here. I am not at all like trained in this area at all. I just kind of go for what feels good and what looks right. And so there's really no right or wrong way. That's why I like the simplicity of picking up the little bouquet, is because they're already kind of matched together. So I'll just let you watch kind of how this goes, and hopefully that will help inspire you. So as you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my eucalyptus leaves here. So to fix that, I just put a little hot glue on one of the leaves to attach it. That way it just kind of fills in that negative space that I did not want there. And I did pick up a couple little extra sprigs of the succulents I showed at the beginning of the video in the wedding section to kind of make this a little bit fuller, so you can see how that looks. I just stick the stem back in there. That would be totally optional, but I absolutely love how this turned out. I think it looks so chic and so cute. So as I mentioned in my intro today, this is part of a collaboration with 3 other blonde YouTubers. We thought it would be super fun to get us blondies together and do a fall video. I am doing this with Jackie from Blessed Beyond Measure, Lisa from Dollar Mom, and then Yelena from Blondie Next Door. These ladies are so amazingly talented. I'm going to leave the link to the playlist in my description box, so you are not going to want to miss what they have created for you. So make sure you check that out. For this DIY, there's a couple of different ways that you can make this. So you can make it with this little pumpkin that you see there. If you don't have a pumpkin, I have this little sheet from Dollar Tree to use. And then of course the back is just a wood canvas that I bought at Walmart. $6 or $7, I believe was what it was. I'm just gonna take some scrapbook paper, and I loved this color of plaid. I wanted a plaid for sure in the background. So I just had to, since it didn't fit quite, I kind of had to match it up as best I could. So you're just going to take the back out of this little wood canvas, and then I just measure my paper down to make sure that it fit. And then here I am just putting some good old school glue, the little school glue stick, I should say, onto the backing of my little wood canvas. And then I will just use my Mod Podge roller to make sure that this adheres extremely well to that. And this will become the back of our canvas there. So you can see how that looks there. I guess this is kind of like a reverse canvas. So what I'm going to do is take this little sign from Dollar Tree and remove the center stuff, and then I just cut some scrapbook paper down to size to fit inside of it. Just got some coordinating paper to fit, and you can see that you could use one of those little pumpkins from Hobby Lobby or something. Anything you have would be fine. But what I'm going to do is trace this on the back of this little, this is like a tile, like a plastic tile from Dollar Tree. Kind of looks like that like faux tin. And so I'm just going to cut my shape of the pumpkin out. This stuff is like very thin plastic. It cuts extremely easy. And then I cover it with some plaster chalk paint, and then I go in with my metallic silver, and I go over all of the raised areas. This is just going to make this look like distressed tin. So here's just an up-close look at what this looks like once you've kind of distressed it and added that little silver bit on there. So I'm just making a little mark on my canvas there of where to glue my second sign onto. The plaid lines really help because you have kind of like straight lines to go off of. So I'm just putting some hot glue on the back of this and then measuring that up there. I just love how these two papers look together. I think they are so cute. This is just the original riser that came on that sign, so I glue that down, and then I'm just going to glue the pumpkin. I will warn you that this is plastic, so it will start to melt the pumpkin if you push too hard. So maybe super glue might work a little bit better, or if you use hot glue, just don't push very firmly on it. And then I take a jumbo popsicle stick here, or craft stick, and cut it to the same size as the pumpkin. And then I just weather it up with some antiquing wax here. So I just use a baby wipe to wipe that on. And then I'm doing a Waterslide decal on here. These are so amazing. I recently discovered these. I'll leave some more information about them in my description box if you'd like to know. But it says, "Meet me at the pumpkin patch." I thought that was so cute. So I just made another little riser out of part of an old craft stick or paint stick and glued that on. And then I will use that to glue my cute little sign onto the front of the pumpkin. This particular DIY completely blew all of my expectations out of the water. I kind of had a vision for it, and as it came together, I loved it more and more. You'll have to let me know what you guys think of this one. Personally, I think it turned out so classy, and I absolutely love it. I know that every Hobby Lobby is different, but in my Hobby Lobby, they had tons of these little, they're not really yard stakes, they're more for like your pots or your plants. And they had a bunch of these different wooden designs, and I thought they were so cute. And so I have 3 here, but I end up only using 2 of these little wooden ones. But I just unscrew the stakes on the back of them. So I stuck with ones that were wooden rather than the metal, because I'm not really sure how I would get the little stakes off the metal ones without having to have some really big wire cutters. But I'm just going to take these little flat wood pumpkins and sand off the words because I am going to paint them. I do one in the pumpkin Waverly chalk paint and the other one in moss Waverly chalk paint. And then I go in and just paint like the green stem on the orange one, and then I use my antiquing wax to do a brown stem on this green one. You'll see me do that here. So now we're going to take some nautical rope from Dollar Tree and I'm going to hot glue this onto the back of 5 of these pumpkins. I do 3 of the white textured pumpkins and then the 2 that I painted. And right now I'm not really measuring the length of the rope strands. I do that kind of once I get it together, and then I will cut it off from the top, if that makes sense. So that way you're not having to like undo the glued portion of this. So I just take all 5 and hot glue the back or the rope onto the back of each of them. I do stop and take a minute to do a little twine bow on the 2 pumpkins that I painted. I thought that added a little bit of texture, and then I also decided it needed a little more texture, so I go in with some antiquing wax and I do my typical distressing of those. So I love to add texture to things like that. Now I'm just kind of laying these out to kind of get an idea of the length or how I want them to fall. They will kind of clump together when they fall unless you glue them together, which would be totally fine too, but I really just kind of wanted a more free flowing feel. And then I'm just taking one of the strands of rope here after I have the desired length on each of those, and I hot glue it, and you can see I'm just wrapping it around, and then I kind of will go back down and double it up so it's a thicker wrap there, and then I will just glue this down, and that will make that portion nice and secure and just kind of gives it that little tied look. And then with the top ones, I trim them all to the same length except for one I leave longer, and then I kind of loop these over. There's probably a lot of better ways to do this, so if you have a better idea or can come up with something different, definitely do this. I was just kind of in the moment like, I probably could have come up with a smarter way to do this, but it got the job done. So I'm just using some hot glue to glue down those 3 strands right there, and then I am going to take that longer one and then just add on to where I wound that first rope, if that makes sense. It's probably better for you just to kind of watch how I'm doing this here. Here is this cute little piece hanging. I think this is so darling. I absolutely love it. I think if you have like a peg shelf or something like that somewhere, or even from your door, I think this would just be a darling little addition. What do you guys think of this one? Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. This DIY is kind of like a 2 for DIY. So I wanted to kind of make a little collection here, and I'm trying to still perfect my decoupage technique. So I have this little charger that was from the fall section at Hobby Lobby, and these napkins are so stinking cute. They came from Dollar Tree, and what I'm going to try to do is decoupage, cut the napkin out onto the charger here to add a decorative plate to my china hutch. So I have a china hutch in my kitchen. I like to put fun little unique plates and stuff in for the different holidays. So this of course will not be food safe. So I want to mention that so that way we get that out of the way. But there's a couple layers of the napkins. So I'm just tearing this away and it becomes a very, very thin layer that's left here. So you're just delicate. I mean, it doesn't look like I'm being super delicate, but you do want to make sure that you don't tear it. And then for this particular one where the background is not the same color as the napkin, it's that galvanized metal, I want to cut as close to the design as I can. So this is a little bit, it takes a little bit of time because you really want to be as careful as you can. Now this was so thin that some of the leaves and little things, I did my best to get in between, but I was not super picky because I knew once I decoupaged it that a lot of that white color would kind of blend into the galvanized. You'll see how it looks when I'm done. But you do want to kind of take your time and get as much of that excess around the edge as you can. I put some Mod Podge down in the center of the charger here, and then I'm just taking a brush and I will just spread this all around the center. I don't go up onto the edge of the charger or anything. I did want to make sure that I used a brush for this, just because I didn't trust myself with one of the foam sponge brushes. I felt like I wanted to be so delicate with the edges, and I don't know, for some reason it just didn't seem like I could be as delicate with a foam brush as I could with an actual brush. So after I spread the decoupage, not decoupage, that's the process we're doing, is decoupaging. After I spread the Mod Podge out, I just lay down that little cute decal. So I did use my Mod Podge roller here, and I did quickly realize that like I didn't want to do that with this napkin because it was not as delicate as I really needed to be. I did not want to tear it or anything. And so I just went ahead with my brush, and I just kind of go around the edges and make sure that all of the edges are secured down with the Mod Podge. And then I take some Mod Podge and put in the center of my design there, and I just go all the way over, making sure that all of it is completely covered. This will just make sure that that design is adhered very well. And you can see how that little bit of like between the leaves there, the little white from the napkin that obviously I couldn't cut in between all of those leaves, it does blend in extremely well to the galvanized. So this right here is just a platter that I had from Dollar Tree and some paper placemats that I got from Hobby Lobby. So what I'm gonna do first is just spray paint my platter from Dollar Tree, and I'm just using some spray chalk paint. You can do it in whatever color you would like. This is also going to go in my China hutch. It's just kind of a fun fall decorative platter. Again, not food safe, but definitely fun to put out to decorate with. You could easily put like some napkins or some of your silverware or something on it. So I'm going to trace around the base onto my paper napkin to get the general shape, and then I'll just cut that out with my scissors. After you make sure that your little decal fits the exact way that you want it, you're just going to put some Mod Podge in here. So I just kind of put a bunch on there and go all the way around. This one I was fine using my foam brush with because it was not as delicate as that napkin. And then I do put a little bit of the Mod Podge on the back of the decal, the little paper placemat. And then you're just going to very carefully eyeball it, get it kind of, you do have a little bit of wiggle room with the Mod Podge. And I do get out my roller to kind of get out any bubbles or anything. And you'll see here that I end up lifting it up and then using that roller to go down. This worked extremely well for getting out the bubbles on that. So if you have one of the rollers, then try this method. I highly recommend one of these rollers. And again, I'll just link that down in my description box. So if you guys want to have a look at those, I absolutely love it. They do sell them at Hobby Lobby though. I've seen them there also. So I'm deciding that I want this particular platter to have the same texture all over, since, you know, if you were to buy it as like an actual platter that had a design on it, it would all have that glossy look. So I do go all the way over completely with Mod Podge, and my intent was to leave it like this, and so that's why I'm doing this step here. And then I actually decided, well, I guess right here what you're seeing me do is I decided to kind of antique the edges a little bit. Sometimes on a couple of plates that I have, it looks like they've kind of given it that farmhouse kind of style. So I thought that would kind of blend the white paint into the cream color on the napkin, not napkin, the paper placemat. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, and so I just kind of rub that antiquing wax in, and then I into the edges, and then I rub it off with a baby wipe. And then I'm just taking some of my plaster chalk paint and just kind of pushing that back in to kind of make it a little bit, that white pop through a little bit more. And then I go through and completely coat it with my clear coat spray paint. So I felt like that gave it the best shine to make it look completely like a platter that you actually bought, not like a paper placemat and a Dollar Tree platter. But let me know what you think of these. I love them. I think they're going to be so cute in my China hutch for fall time. I'm excited to have these in there. What do you guys think of these? Do you guys like decoupaging or not so much? I would love for you guys to leave me a comment and let me know which of these was your favorite project. I had so much fun creating all of them. They were so fun, and I'm so excited to get to use all of them in my decorating. So I definitely want to know if you had a favorite from today. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today. I want to say thank you to Lisa, Jackie, and Yelena for inviting me in on this fun collaboration. And just as a reminder, make sure you hit that link down in my description box for the playlist to see some other fun fall inspiration for you. And as always, guys, remember to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy. Choose to have a good day because you are amazing. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day.